Okay, everybody, time for another live stream. And again, we're still testing out some new systems and stuff, so hopefully everything is working properly. I kind of went back and watched the last live stream I did, and it looked okay. But the microphone was a little light. I usually have my microphone way over here, so I moved a little closer. So hopefully that's helping. But anyway, it looks like we're live. I'm gonna just kind of pull up so I can see the chat once that starts rolling in. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna get ready. We're gonna do some more sketch cards. If you watched the last one, I mentioned that I was probably gonna do one. That I did the last one. I think I did it on a Friday, and I said I was going to do another one the next day on a Saturday. My weekend was pretty packed, so sorry I didn't get around to that. But anyway, I'm on tonight anyway. So we're going to do some more of these gross food sketch cards, and basically this is all part of my campaign, my Kickstarter campaign for. It came from the fridge. They're gross out stickers, kind of like Garbage Pail Kids or Wacky Packages, just like back in the day that used to get. If you grew up in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, some of that stuff's still going on today. Garbage Pail Kids and to some extent Wacky Packages have still been continuing on and everything, but never to the popularity that they were before. It looks like we do have some people in the chat. I see Edie in there. Let's see, TC Mech 79. We got Dylan. So yeah, awesome. Good to see all of you guys in the chat, and I'm gonna get started on some more of these sketch cards. But the other thing I'm gonna try to do is have a little bit of a topic because I watch back and my friend Joshua Kimball, who I do the Artcasters live stream with, he does a lot more live streaming than I do, and he usually is able to kind of keep the conversation going more than just kind of saying what I'm drawing is usually what I've been doing. But I want to talk about some other things, and the main thing I want to talk about, since I'm running this Kickstarter, I want to talk about what's called a quick starter, which is kind of a bare bones version of a Kickstarter, and it's a really good kind of entry point for a lot of people if you want to start a Kickstarter. So I'm going to talk about that and talk about why I'm sort of taking that model for this particular project compared to what I've been doing in the past. And it's basically the same as if you've ever heard of the concept of an MPV, MVP, not most valuable player, but minimum viable product is kind of what they call when you put a product out there, and it may not be, I don't want to say it's not totally finished because this project is, but you're kind of more concerned of just getting the product out there, because a lot of times when you're working on something, whether it's art, a comic book or whatever, you sweat over those little details, and sometimes that kind of holds you back. So I want to talk about that MVP. I want to talk about the idea of a quick starter, but I'm going to switch my camera over to the overhead, and we're going to get into drawing some sketch cards while I do that. So let's see, and you can kind of see some of the other ones that I've done here. Let's see, what else we got? We got some. Let's see. Oh, okay, I see Chris in the chat too, Sketchboy01. So hey Chris, how's it going? We just had Chris on the Artcasters, so anyway, so let me get my glasses on so I can actually see. All right, so first off, let's think what I'm gonna draw as far as these gross food sketch cards. And so these were awards that I had. They were like $5 awards. They're all gone right now. I may at the end of the campaign bring them back and do more. They'll probably won't be $5. I'll probably bump them up to 10. But still, for an original sketch, that's pretty good. But I wanna give people who jumped on the Kickstarter in the beginning, I wanted to give them a little something extra. A really good deal, because the momentum of that Kickstarter in the beginning is what really helps the project out. So anyway, so let's go ahead, and I think what I'm going to draw first, let's try, I'm thinking, I've got some questions like through my Substack and other things about what kind of inspired this whole thing, and a number of things inspired him besides Garbage Pail Kids and Wacky Packages and all that kind of stuff. Some of it was, there are all kinds of gross toys and stuff like that in the in the sort of 70s and 80s and 90s. But somebody had asked if the scene from Naked Gun inspired it, where he's going through the fridge and he's got the spoiled milk, and then he's got the Chinese takeout that's like, and she's, it's, I think, Priscilla Presley, I forgot what her character's name was, but she's like, oh, I thought that restaurant went out of business like 3 years ago, and he's like, has it been that long? And I had forgot about that scene, but this isn't inspired by that. Wasn't really even thinking about that, but there's other things that do inspire it. And one of the things that I remember is that the Saturday Night Live bit with the lunch lady. Like, it was at Lunch Lady Land, where it was Chris Farley was the lunch lady, and Adam Sandler, and he was singing the song about the lunch lady song. And so I'm thinking cafeteria style food, and I'm thinking like Sloppy Joe's. So I am going to do a Sloppy Joe's, which by their nature is pretty, I mean, I enjoy a good Sloppy Joe every now and then, but this one's going to be even more disgusting. Like, maybe we'll just throw like a fish bone in there. I mean, why would there be a fish bone in a Sloppy Joe? I don't know. You can have some worms kind of coming out here. And I don't know how well you can see this, but when I get to the inking stage, you'll be able to see it a little better. He says fast food is usually gross enough to draw from. Yeah, I'm not a huge like fast food person. I think the extent of my fast food is probably like In-N-Out Burger or like Salad and Go. Those are the two places, and Salad and Go is that's pretty good for you. I mean, they have, if you get all their sugary drinks and stuff, it's a little, you gotta watch that stuff. But yeah, those are the two I go to. But yeah, we could do a lot with fast food, and which I did in the cards. There's like French fries and all that kind of stuff. So what else can we do in here? We always like to draw some little bugs or beetles or something crawling around here. What else could be? Maybe just a regular bone popping out here, and let's see what else. Flies are always good to have flying around. So yeah, so we got our, and we got to have big chunky, splotches and just dripping down. That's part of it, and moldy stuff there. So I think that's enough to go on as far as that. And we're gonna get back to talk about tools a little bit. I talked about these on the last episode, but these were recommended by Erwin Papa, who we had on the show also. Yeah, I'm really digging these brush pens, these Tombow brush pens, and they're super cheap, which is awesome. So this is the hard. Yeah, I think this is the hard tip. So all right. So while I'm starting to ink this, I'm going to talk a little bit about this idea of the MVP, or minimum viable product. So if you're not aware of the origins of it came from the fridge, and by the way, there is a link to the Kickstarter campaign in the description of this video, so you can click on that and it'll take you right to the campaign if you want to check it out, or considering backing it. There's all kinds of cool rewards and things like that. And if you're interested in, if I end up bringing these back, you can always add, these are kind of add-ons, so you can't really get them unless you back a tier already. So if you end up backing and you decide you want one of these, and if I bring them back, you can always add that. You can add or change your tier pretty much at any time. So so as far as, that link's in there. There's also a link to my brand new channel where I've got a new YouTube channel where I'm chronicling the process of this whole project. While I was creating it, all the artwork, I recorded everything and it edited, and I've got videos ready to go. There'll be a new video every week for the next almost couple months. So definitely, subscribe to that new YouTube channel. I'm pretty happy with the way it's going right now. But, my goal, I'm hoping by the end of this month, I'd like to get to 100 subscribers. I think we're like at 80 something right now, but I would really like to get to 100 subscribers. So if you guys haven't already subscribed to it's Retro Art Lab on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, please, yeah, go there and check it out. And if you like this kind of stuff, you'll see the whole process of me, bringing this project to life. And then there'll be new, kind of these retro um, projects that I do where I take old stuff from the Gen X era stuff, toys, ephemera, collectibles, stuff you would get at restaurants, things like that, and I kind of recreate them and put weird spins on them. And that's kind of how I started getting into doing these wax pack trading cards, which, as you can see, this is kind of what they look like here. This is if you get the full thing, you get the 4 wax packs, you get all the cards. Each come with a stick of bubble gum, come with a magnet, and then 6 stickers in each pack. And then there's also collectible chase cards or stickers and all that stuff. So yeah, it's all, that's all chronicled on my new YouTube channel, me creating this whole thing. But I've been doing that kind of stuff on this channel, but I'm getting to the point where I think I want to separate my comic book stuff, because I'm getting ready to start a new comic book. After I finish this project, I'm going to be starting on my new comic book project. So I want to separate those 2 channels. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Oh, and Chris says, great branding with the custom sketch cards. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I think and that was the thing that before, so I'm kind of all over the place, but what I was talking about before was these things. I had done some of these I just called them gross food, because they started off as, for a while back, I was publishing a lot of books on Amazon where a lot of coloring books and things. So I created this gross food coloring book. And when you sell books on Amazon, the title of the book has to be at the title of the description of whatever you're selling. So it has to be really descriptive. So that's why I just named it gross food, because it was descriptive. It told what it was, but it wasn't as fun. So I wanted to come up with something a little more clever. So I came up with it, then it kind of dawned on me. It came from the fridge, kind of like an old, 50s horror movie or something like that. And so from there, I just started building the branding, and it all kind of fell into place and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that started. But I started doing these wax packs, just learning how to do them and kind of perfecting it, and that's how it all started. But then I kind of wanted to take it to the next level, and I kind of improved on the artwork. I expanded some of the drawings. I added a lot to the graphic design. I created artwork for the backs of the cards and came up with the idea for the magnets, because it just tied in with the refrigerator so well with the magnets and everything. So that's kind of how it started. But I always knew, once I decided that I actually put some of those gross food cards on my website, and they sold out really quick. So I knew that there was, I knew people were into that stuff. They're into it, and I always wanted to kind of bring it back, but take it to the next level. Anyway, so I've been sort of working on developing this as sort of a brand, and I was just gonna, I was just thinking of just putting it out there, just like I did the first time. I just created these. I'll put these out there, and also doing the videos. I always intended to kind of do a video series even before I decided to create an all new channel. So yeah, I kind of kept working away at it and everything, and then I was just gonna, I make, if you're not aware, I do all kinds of wax packs based on movies and TV shows that never got, wax packs back in the day. All the stuff I wish they had wax packs. I started making those, and then people were like, "Oh man, I wish I could get some of those." So then I started selling them. So I sell wax packs all the time on my website and on Etsy. So yeah, that's just kind of a side business that I've been doing. So I knew I could create these things, and this is a little different because this is my own IP. It's not something that people are already familiar with, but I think it's close enough to things that people get. Like, when I just say, "Oh, if you like Garbage Pail Kids or Wacky Packages, you'll probably like this," and that seems to sort of be the case. So I started developing developing it as it came from the fridge, recording my process, doing all these videos. Um, and the idea was, oh, so I'll do all these videos, I'll launch this new channel, and at the end of all the videos, which I think there's like 10 videos in the series. At the end of the 10 videos, I'll just announce that you can get them. Or I was going to announce I'll do like a Kickstarter, a very kind of basic Kickstarter, and I'll explain a little more about the kind of the ideas of what a Quickstarter is and how it's separate from a regular Kickstarter, and how it's probably, if you're thinking about doing a Kickstarter, it might be a really good kind of entry level way to do it. But anyway, so let me get in here and do this. Hold on, my phone is going. My phone's buzzing in my pocket. I just want to see if it's not. Yeah, it's just my art friends talking on our message board, not message board, but our, what do you call it, message app. Anyway, so yeah, so the idea was I'll do all the videos, and then at the end I will announce that that I've got this Kickstarter. And then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, I might be doing this kind of backwards, because it's a new channel. So how much promotion? Like I said, my goal is hopefully to get like 100 subscribers on that channel by the end of the month, and we'll see. And I'm really happy with the way it is, knowing that I'm just starting from nothing right now. So I am happy with the people that are watching it and stuff, but it's going to take time to grow. So it's not really feasible to try to promote a Kickstarter with a small channel like that. But then I was thinking, what if because if you run a Kickstarter, this is my 5th Kickstarter, but you build sort of an audience also on Kickstarter as well. So let me go ahead and sign this guy. But so as I'm building the audience I've already kind of built this audience on Kickstarter, and I've got a mailing list with, a couple thousand people on it or whatever. So what if I just do it all together and while I'm promoting the videos, I'm also promoting the Kickstarter. And then before the video series wraps, I will have completed this Kickstarter, because it's only got another, I think 17 days or something to go. So this Kickstarter is going to wrap, and because of the nature, like I said, I was planning on doing this project with or without a Kickstarter, because I make these packs by myself, and I figured if it got a little out of hand, I could outsource some of the printing and things like that. But there's only so much I can outsource. It's not like I can't get too big for my britches on this particular project, and I'll explain why in a minute, and how that comes back to this idea of this Quickstarter. But I'm going to pause for a second while I think of what my next thing is. So we've got our Sloppy Joe. I was talking before about him kind of drinking the spoiled milk. So let's do kind of a gross curdled milk. So anyway, we're going to do one of these little tiny, remember the little cartons you used to get from the like the cafeteria? We'll do something like that. All right. So anyway, back to what was I talking about? So anyway, yeah. So I the Kickstarter will wrap up. I'll get the rewards out to everyone, and if you back the Kickstarter, you're going to get some extra stuff that you're not going to be able to get if you were just to get it from when it eventually goes up on the website. But by the time those videos wrap, I will have wrapped the Kickstarter, fulfilled all the stuff, because I'm ready. I want to be ready to go. If you backed any of my Kickstarter before, it's not one of those where you're going to have to wait a year or even months. At the very most, the longest I think anyone's ever waited for one of my Kickstarters was like 2 months. But I'm hoping to beat the record on that. So let's see. So we want to hold on. Let's just get to put milk on here so we know what it is. Although a milk carton is pretty distinctive, I think most people can tell what it is. But it's usually going to say milk on here somewhere. We'll do another one down here. So anyway, so I was planning on with or without this Kickstarter, kind of getting these out in the world. And I was thinking, well, why not get a little help? Plus, the good thing about Kickstarter is it's almost like a pre-order system. So it's a good way to let people know about the project. People that might not otherwise even go to my website or know about it. It's a good way to kind of get it out there. Some people just like to buy stuff on Kickstarter. So anyway, hold on. So now's the time we've got to start making this look pretty curled and piled up and just very disgusting. I mean, a big, almost like cottage cheese. Disgusting. And then oozing. And then we got to put some stuff on here. So I decided, I'm gonna do kind of a basic kind of Kickstarter with a quick starter, and I'll explain a little bit about that. A quick starter is something that's somebody coined the phrase, and this is a person that's, I don't know their name, but this is a person who's done some big projects, but they just wanted to something a little simple, because Kickstarters can be pretty stressful. So I started, so I was thinking, I don't want this to be stressful. I just ran a Kickstarter, a couple months ago, so I don't want to go through that whole thing. And I don't want to be too attached to the outcome. Like I said, I'm going to put it out there with or without funding from Kickstarter. But, it all does help, and it's a good way to get it out there. And I do appreciate everyone that backs it. But if it and hopefully it performs. And I set a fairly modest goal, which we've hit. There's stretch goals and stuff that I want to meet because I want to get extra stuff to everyone. But I didn't want to do like a big rollout Kickstarter where I'm constantly having to promote it. I mean, I'm doing a little promotion, but anyway, Quickstarter is kind of supposed to, the ideas of Quickstarter is it's supposed to be it's just kind of supposed to be fun. It's DIY. It's not like a big manufacturing thing. So this project definitely it's DIY. It's something that I can create myself. I've got a printer and I print my own cards. Like I said, if it gets out of hand or if it gets a little bit more than I print myself, I can start looking to outsourcing some of that stuff. But I don't know if you can hear my dogs whining in the background. Hopefully not. But anyway, so it's supposed to be fun. It's not, it's not supposed to take over your life. It's not supposed to be like a full-time job, which sometimes running a Kickstarter for that month or whatever you run it can seem like a full-time job. And it's just like, it's not supposed to be a big deal, and it's kind of just like a smaller project. So that's what I sort of set out to do. I don't know if somebody's here. Let's see. No. Okay, sorry. So that's sort of what I set out to do. Now, here's the thing: if you've ever run a Kickstarter, and I apologize for not, I'm gonna take a pause and I'm just gonna go over and try to answer some questions from chat and everything. I'm so excited for the new comic book. Dylan says, "Yeah, I'm excited to get started on it too." So that'll be maybe a month or 2 months at the most before I kind of start doing that on this channel. But let's see. I love when you do these live drawing sessions. Jim Lujan says. We've got some just people talking back and forth in the chat. Do the chewing gum lurking under the desk. Oh, okay. That's from OK Comics. Did you see this one? So this is sort of a guy stepping on the chewing gum. I don't know if I'll do another one right now, but yeah. But that's a good one too. If I get around to doing more and I run out of ideas, I might do another gum. But yeah, that's definitely pretty disgusting. The other thing I'm going to do real quick is I see my battery's getting a little low on my overhead camera, so I'm going to switch my camera. Okay, and then I got to remember to switch it back because I messed up last time, and I was just filming myself. But anyway, so what I was getting at, I took the car. I didn't want to take that out. I meant to take the battery out. So when you run a Kickstarter, if you've ever run a Kickstarter, one thing you're going to find is that you get tons and tons of spam from people, wanting, you to hire them to help promote your Kickstarter and all this stuff. And I mean, it's just, and this time I've got way more than I ever had before. I've got the most those the most solicitations out of any campaign, and I'm guessing maybe it's because I think that switched over. Yeah. So I'm guessing that's maybe because it was off to a little slower start because like I said, I'm not putting all my effort into getting this thing, it took the last Kickstarter I think we funded in the first 24 hours. This one took a couple days to hit that first goal. So maybe because of that people were like, "Oh, this guy needs some help." And then all these experts that come out of the woodwork. Um, but there was one person that reached out to me, and they were part of kind of a Kickstarter program that Kickstarter set up apparently. And I kind of looked into it. It looked legit, and he sent me some stuff. But I actually reached out to this guy because I had noticed that this is a guy that does a lot of I think he heads a board game company, and I was I was out getting in my town, my city that I live in. I was out getting my blood drawn, because you go get physicals and all that stuff. You get your blood drawn and just checking make sure everything's okay. And in this office suite, I noticed this sign for this game company, and it kind of rang a bell. I won't say what it is, but so I'm like, oh, that's interesting that there's a game company here in my city, because I always like to keep track of that kind of stuff, other creatives kind of locally here. So I just kind of made a mental note of it. And when I got this message from this guy, I noticed that he was, I don't think the microns smudge when you do Copics, or alcohol markers, but we're going to try it out. So I'm like, oh, I'll just reach out to this guy and introduce myself, and maybe, because it's like literally almost in walking distance from my house, this guy's studio, this game company. So I thought, oh, I'll reach out to him and introduce myself and everything. And the thing said it was, no strings attached, no, mentorship, free mentorship through Kickstarter and stuff. And I was talking to the guy, and he did give some advice. A lot of this stuff, actually, I've already kind of heard of. I've listened to hours of podcast about crowdfunding and things like that. And so I knew a lot of these tactics, but and some of them I haven't implemented. Knowing how to do something and actually doing it are two different stories. But hold on. So I was talking. Guy was getting, he was giving me some advice and stuff, and I kind of kept explaining to him that this project it's not really meant to be this huge thing, and by design, it's meant to be kind of like a quick starter. But and then he kind of started trying to kind of push me a little closer to being to like work with his marketing company. And I'm so I kept having to it's one of those things. I kind of reached out to him again just to kind of introduce myself and everything, but I think he was more concerned about trying to, I don't know where you got a commission or something like that. But anyway, but I told him, this is it's just supposed to be like a quick starter. And so anyway, to let you guys know, because I think this is valuable for you if you're thinking about wanting to do a Kickstarter, this idea of the quick starter and what it is exactly. And I've kind of explained a little bit, but I'm going to go in a little more detail. There's rules, and I've got them in front of me. I'm going to kind of read them. It says this is sort of the quick starter manifesto that this guy came up with. I think he's a London-based designer. But number one, the development process from sketching an idea to launching a Kickstarter should take no more than 3 months. And I've been working on this off and on, this project, but really I didn't even decide I was going to do a Kickstarter. Like it was probably maybe a month ago that I decided, oh, I'm going to do this. And now I'm realizing that this battery I just put in is almost dead. So I'm going to switch over again. Sorry about this. It just died on me, so I switched it over. All right, I don't know how that happened. I thought I charged all these batteries. Hold on a second. And now I can't get the where. Oh. Problem is when this thing is mounted up here, it's hard to get the battery out. Okay, that one's dead. That one's dead. Let's see if this one's any good. Of course, I got to put it in right side up. Let's try again. And if these tend to be dead, I got this one and one more battery, and that will probably determine how long this live stream is. All right, let me open this up. Give it a chance to kind of set itself. When the battery pops up. Okay, it says full battery. Now I'm just going to zoom in a little more since I'm drawing pretty small here. We'll switch back over. Okay, we're back in business, hopefully. So anyway, so yeah, the quick starter is it's not supposed to take, you know, it's just a basic idea. Like say if you wanted to do like a sketchbook or something, or I'm trying to think of something. I mean, basically something, you know, kind of small like what I'm doing here where it's DIY, where I'm basically hand making these packs. I print them. I've got a couple different printers. I got a laser printer. I've got an inkjet printer. I figured out the technique. I kind of learned how to do all that stuff. And so I can do it pretty much by myself. And so and the other thing is the campaign should be kept to under a month. It says 20 days. Mine went a little more than that, but it definitely under a month. It wasn't the full 30 days. And then let's see. So the rule number 3 is the funding goal should be below $1,000, and then it says or thereabouts, considering your local currency. So I set mine. I set my goal. Like I said, I set it at about $1,000 goal. But like I said, if you're considering wanting to get your feet wet on a Kickstarter, you know, you could do a goal of, depending what it is, you know, I mean, if you got some prints, say you've got some cool prints, you got 5 cool prints that are in like a series and you want to do a quick starter for it, something simple, you know, it would maybe behoove you to kind of test it out, especially if you got it. I mean, and the thing is with crowdfunding, you kind of need a crowd before you can fund, but for a small project like that, if you've even got, you know, you could probably do it even with you know, friends and family, or at least it's a good test. The good thing about Kickstarter, it's a good indication of kind of if there's a market for what you're doing, you know. And of course, a lot of that has to do with promotion. I mean, you could have the best product in the world and people don't know about it, then how do they back it? So you do have to kind of let people know about it a little bit. But a quick starter is kind of a good entry level for just a small project and kind of get your feet wet. Even though I've done a little bit, like the comic projects are a little bit bigger than, you know, what I'm doing with this particular quick starter, where I'm doing it kind of, you know, just more of a DIY thing, whereas the comic books definitely have to be outsourced. I can't print. I mean, I probably, with my printers, I got a pretty nice printer. I probably could print the comics myself, but they would just take so long. It just would not be worth it. I mean, it's just not feasible. So the 4th rule is the reward should be, the main reward should be under $50, which mine is. This is the only one where I didn't have like a sort of very entry level reward. Usually with the comics, I'll have like a $5 reward for like a digital comic. It's really hard to do anything digital with this. I couldn't think of anything that made sense for this particular project, you know, to do digitally. So I think the first goal was either $20 or $25. And you get a pack, plus you get 3 additional stickers with that. Anyway, so that's, and that's kind of, you know, that's probably that's a better deal than you're probably going to get if you buy it later, because you're not going to get all those extras and stuff. And then you can kind of add on. You can do 2 packs and everything. But so the first goal is under $50. The first reward anyway. The 5th kind of tenet of quick starters are the video should be shot in a day with whatever camera you have, smartphone, whatever. So nothing crazy. I mean, I may have went a little beyond that, but I do so much videos that I'm kind of I can do stuff like that a little bit quicker, make it look a little polished. So the editing, but I think all in all, it probably took me about a day, maybe a couple days to put that video together. Well, actually, the video, it probably did take about a day. Now, there was a lot of the footage and stuff that I used from this video series that I already had done that I could just pull from that, and that took a while to do, but that was already done. So anyway, I think that kind of falls under the same rule. And then this is sort of, we get into like the rule number 6. Don't do any PR or media outreach. Any like paid, don't do any PR or media outreach unless you get contacted. So if somebody contacts you and says you want to go on my podcast, like the last Kickstarter I did, I tried to get on a bunch of podcasts. This time, I'm not going that far with it. So that's kind of that's another, one of the tenets of what a quick starter is. So let me kind of mix in some of these here. Hopefully that's disgusting enough. Hopefully you get the idea that it's pretty curled up there. Let's see. So, okay. And so the rule number 7 is don't run any paid ads on social media. And so this is where when I was talking to this guy who was trying to hook me up with his marketing company, and don't get me wrong, I mean, this guy was very successful. If you get to the point, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's a waste of money. If you've got the money to spend and you really want to see like huge results, have a really like 100,000, 200,000 and upward Kickstarter, then it probably would make sense if you want to, hire a marketing team to help you with that. Again, like I've explained, this isn't that kind of project. So, and then it's kind of had to mention it to this guy that, no, this is something that it's not supposed to be this big project. And one of the reasons for that, let's get started on another one and I'll get right back to that, I promise. Okay. What are we going to draw next? Let's do, I'm going to do some pizza rolls. I haven't done pizza rolls. So let's see. Yeah, I'll kind of do like a plate of pizza rolls here. Or would it be better if they're coming out of a bag, like you just pull them out of the oven? Or they come out in a box, don't they? Well, I'll just put them on maybe I won't do a bowl. I'll just have some pizza rolls just sitting there. Anyway, so we'll draw some pizza rolls. Oh, and I forgot I got to sign the backs of these before I forget. So anyway, back to the story here. Do them up. Autograph those. All right. And also, just so you know that the chase cards that are randomly inserted are also autographed. There's other tiers where you can get unfolded wax packs, like flat wax packs, and they're autographed and everything. So yeah, just go. There's a link in the description for the Kickstarter. You could check it out. But I explained to him, this guy, this is just meant to be something small. It's a DIY project, and the reason why is because if I spent the money, if I spent the money, hired a marketing team or whatever, and it became huge, it became super successful. I mean, say it brought in like $100,000, dollars or whatever, and it's just this big thing, then I'm in trouble, because the problem with like these wax packs and things, companies like Topps and all these companies that used to make wax packs, they don't make them anymore. The machinery that they use to make those, they don't have that machinery. They've all upgraded to more digital, foil, plastic, all that stuff. So they don't even have the capability. There's only one company that I know of that makes wax packs like on a mass scale, and it's called Psychic Labs. And I'm pretty sure what happened was they just went in and bought all the old equipment that other people, were getting rid of, and started this wax pack company. So to my knowledge, they're the only ones that do that. And the problem is they usually do their own in-house projects. Sometimes they'll work with other companies or whatever, but they can only do so much. And there's a waiting list, from what I understand. Other people talk, because other people have tried to get them on the phone and can't even get a hold of them. So then I'd be in a position where, okay, this thing's super successful. There's no one that I can go to on a mass scale and have them produce these cards, these wax packs, the way I want. It just doesn't exist. So what do I do then? And so by this project very nature, it needs to be a smaller project. And I think so when I mention this, usually this guy gets right back to me, and and when I mention this, I haven't heard from him since. So I think he's, I don't know. Anyway, but so that's the reason why this particular project I'm doing as a DIY kind of quick starter. And I'll read. There's a few more rules as far as that. So rule number 8 is no stretch goals, which I did bend that rule. I did set up some stretch goals. So I'm not following that to the letter. The other thing I didn't follow either was in the campaign's name you put quick starter, which when I launched, I was familiar with quick starters. I kind of knew the basic ideas behind them and everything. But when I launched the quick starter, I didn't go back and my Kickstarter, quick starter, whatever you want to call it. I didn't go back and read all the kind of rules that go along with it and all that kind of stuff. So I did not put quick starter in there, which that may have kind of helped because that may have put it in a different category, and may have got a little more promotion because, back to kind of what this guy was saying, and, again, a lot of good advice, as far as, hitting that Kickstarter algorithm, getting the Project We Love badge if you can. And I've never been able to get that, but the past one, I was kind of hoping with this one I might, but with the past one I heard with comics, because I've heard the person interview that does the comic book, and when he does he's kind of the one that decides what gets, or he's part of the group that decides who gets the comic book, the Project We Love for comic books. And he basically came out right out and said, yeah, we don't give them to anything that has zombies or superheroes. So, and mine has zombies. My comic book has zombies. So I kind of knew that I was never going to get it for that. But with this one, a lot of it has to do if it sees momentum, and a lot of that is what's built up from the pre-launch. Before you even launch a product, I put up my pre-launch page trying to get people interested, but again, not to the level that I plan on doing for the next book. So for the next quick Kickstarter, which will probably, that might be a year or more away. But as I'm creating this new comic book, probably in about 6 months before I am done with that, before I'm ready to wrap up that comic book, I'll probably set up my pre-launch page and just let people know. I said, because every video I do about that comic, I want to build excitement about it. So when I'm ready to launch it, I'll have, just the way I've been building my mailing list, I want to build that pre-launch page up to where I've got, hundreds of people on there, hopefully. And so when I launch it, it'll already have that momentum, and it's a little better. So it'll help maybe get that Project We Love badge and get on the Kickstarter homepage, all that stuff. But again, this isn't that kind of project. Put some little steamy things in here. All right, what can we do? We want to put some cockroaches on here and some bugs and things. Chunky stuff. Some little maggots in here, or grubs or something. Hopefully you can tell what this is. That's the problem. These pizza rolls don't really have much of a shape to them, so hopefully you could tell it's a pizza roll. I don't know if it would make sense to have a box in the background here. Maybe I'll do a little box here. Have it opened here. We'll just do pizza rolls. Just nondescript, not Totino's, not anything, just regular old generic pizza rolls. So anyway, I guess to wrap up that whole thing is I think there's value in running sort of a small, DIY sort of kind of Kickstarter thing. because wherever this ends up, and hopefully it'll continue. Hopefully I'll continue to get backers, and that is gonna help me, so I'm not out of pocket. And it does, and it is gonna create sort of that mechanism where I have people lined up that already want it, that are going to get the rewards and all that stuff. I guess pizza rolls plural, it needs to be. All right. But yeah, so that's the idea behind doing that, because I don't want to be in a position. I don't want to be in a position where this thing gets so big that I can't fulfill it. Like I said, I've kind of planned for, if it gets to be a little bigger than it would, then I would be comfortable printing all the stuff myself. I'll have I can have like the stickers produced and the magnets produced out, somewhere else. But the wax packs themselves, to wrap them and to create the wax packs, there's just no one else that can really do that, other than me. So we'll see, and that'll probably be that might be the case. I might send some of the stickers out to be printed, so I don't have to print them, because I have to, when I print my stuff on my printer, I have to print like one at a time. I can't just set it up like, oh, print 100 of these in a row, just because the thickness of the cards and all the things like that. So, but yeah, I guess I should go back over and see how the chat's going. Let's see. Do I have any questions? I don't. I think a lot of people are just talking amongst themselves. Yeah, I think. I think most people are talking about different collectible cards and things like that. But definitely, it seems like I get a better turnout on a Monday than I did on the Friday night that I did the last one. So. And people weren't getting notified. So this time when I set it up, I made sure that that it was scheduled. So because the last time I just hit go live, and I didn't. This time I said I set it for like an hour before I let Kickstarter. I'm sorry, I'm in Kickstarter mindset. I let YouTube know that I was going to go live in about an hour. So hopefully that gave people enough time to know I was getting ready to live stream. So it seemed like it worked pretty well. Definitely a better turnout. Plus Friday nights, people got stuff they're doing, Me, I'd probably just be drawing for the most part. All right. But yeah, so as far as the idea of this minimum viable product, this is something that I would have created anyway. But I thought it would be a good idea to just test. It's almost kind of like a test study in a way, to see kind of what happens if I do one of these smaller projects on Kickstarter. And at first I was kind of nervous because I had just run a Kickstarter, and I'm going to be bothering people, and I'm trying not to do that too much. I'll do it on my mailing list and things like that. But like with the last Kickstarter, I was reaching out to people on Facebook, letting people know that, oh, I got this Kickstarter going. I'm not going to do all that for this. So, and like I said, I was promoting myself on podcasts and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's not the case this time around. So, all right. But if you do have a little project and you're like, oh, I want to do this, it's not going to cost a whole lot to be able to produce what I'm doing, whether it's prints or something along those lines. But it would be helpful if I could get some backers to kind of help me with the production cost, and also, just like I said, just to almost like a pre-order type deal that Kickstarter kind of works well for. Maybe consider doing a quick starter. And I think that's what. Oh, it almost looks like I almost made it like a B, but that's a R. Okay, pizza rolls. Okay. So, I don't know. What do you guys in the chat? What do you guys think? Have you ever thought of doing a Kickstarter, but thought maybe this is kind of, they're really intimidating, but now maybe you're like, oh, maybe if I just do something a little simpler. And the thing is, if you run these Kickstarters and if you don't hit your goal, the worst thing that happens really is that you've kind of learned a lesson. Maybe you get to work a little harder next time, build your audience up a little more. Um, it's a good kind of indicator of kind of where you are, but you never know. I mean, you could. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories of people that just had, you know, really didn't have much of an expectation, and then they kind of blew up, and then. And then you see people on Kickstarter that just have, I mean, you do kind of have to do your research, because I've seen a lot of people on Kickstarter that just have no idea. They probably heard from somebody that, oh, you put this up there and people just give you money. And I've seen a lot of campaigns where they put zero thought into it. They really don't understand Kickstarter or what it is, and they did not do good. And the funny thing is, when I was setting up this Kickstarter, I wasn't sure. I was kind of worried because, like I said, they have the bubble gum in them, and I wasn't sure if there was any kind of rule with Kickstarter about food. So I went in and I just typed in food Kickstarters, and there were a few. So it wasn't, and I learned that that is something you can, that is a campaign you can run if it has to do with food on Kickstarter. But a lot of them were for like people wanting to get their food truck business up and running, and they were just, again, it was probably somebody just told them, oh, I raised this money on Kickstarter. That's all you have to do. Almost like a GoFundMe, and or where, with GoFundMe it's different because it's a charity thing, and people want to help you with that. But it's not so much if it doesn't work so well if you're just saying, oh, I just need help to make this company, and you don't really have the right rewards or the structure or even a video or know about stretch goals, all that kind of stuff. So you do have to do your research before you jump into a Kickstarter. But yeah, I mean, I would, if you're thinking about something like that, look into the kind of what I'm talking about with these quick starters, and maybe consider that as an option. All right. Yeah, so chat, if you got questions for me, let me know. I'll try to glance a little more over now that I've kind of wrapped up my little, story about MVPs and quick starters and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. So hopefully, gotta make sure we see these cockroaches and stuff, because otherwise make sure you can tell what it is. It's disgusting. Now, again, and these are just quick sketches, so they're not. This isn't going to be the same kind of thing that you're going to get with the actual cards. I mean, the artwork on the cards is a little bit, definitely more detailed and stuff like that. But these are just sketches. I mean, yeah, I typically would not do a sketch like this, for $5. So that was kind of a good tier if you want to jump on it. Like I said, these are all sold out, but. The sketch cards are, but I may bring them back at the $10 level towards end of the campaign, if I just, depending how it's going, if it needs a little boost or whatever. But like I said, the whole idea with this is I'm gonna be happy with wherever it lands, but I do appreciate everyone that backs it, and because I think people generally, if you like this kind of stuff, I think you're gonna back this not out of any I don't want to say obligation, but because, any support you want to throw my way, which I appreciate. But I think anyone that backs this is going to back it because they really want the product. Because I think it's fun anyway. So, all right. So there we go. We got our pizza rolls there. And we're going to sign it on the back as well. Oh, I already signed that one. Huh. I don't remember doing that. Okay. All right, let's see. So we're gonna let's see, our battery. We got little 2 bars on our battery, so I think we're good. We've been going for about an hour. So I'm gonna do one more card, and again, let's see. Oh, I see Corey's in the chat. Sorry, showing up late here. Is Quick Starter different? Oh no. Oh, so Corey, no. Quick Starter is just a Kickstarter, but it's just a little more, DIY, lower goals, a little more simple entry level, just for a smaller project that you could probably that most likely you're going to be producing in house. And there's a if you just Google, I mentioned a lot of stuff, and if you rewatch this, you'll hear all that. But if you just type in Kickstarter Quickstarter or Quickstarter Manifesto, I think there's an article that explains what it's all about. So, or you can just rewatch the video when it replays. I talk a little bit about it, but yeah. So it's just kind of it's not a different platform at all. No, I don't think I think if you tried to make a separate platform called, unless it was owned by Kickstarter on a different platform, but I think you might get into trouble if you just called your competing crowdfunding platform Quickstarter. I don't think that would fly. But anyway, all right. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna do let's do. I haven't done like a bowl of soup yet, so I'm just gonna kind of and of course it's got to be pretty disgusting. We'll do our soup bowl thing, and then maybe some saltines down here. Usually saltines are a big part of soup. And what can we do? We want to definitely make it chunky and disgusting, and let's see. I'm going to make it slimy, so I'm going to make it like it's almost like it's sticking to the table here rather than, and then what better to have inside your soup than an eyeball? We'll put a couple eyeballs floating around. Some little worms, and then how about like a sort of like a some kind of a arm to a big insect. Put a little design on the bowl itself. Hopefully we can tell those are saltines. We'll put the little holes in them. A little bit dripping, a little bit, sticky. All right, I think that's pretty cool. All right, let's see. Let me look. Yeah, I think a lot of the conversation is just. That's one cool thing about when you live stream. I just love that there's little communities growing here, and that's something I definitely want to expand on when I get back to, more comic book style content on this channel, and then also with the new channel. I think that was one of my mistakes, was kind of thinking that everyone that was into the comic stuff would be into the retro redesign stuff that I'm doing. So, and I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of people that have subscribed to both channels and enjoy both of them, but if you are here for one thing in particular, that's going to be hopefully a little easier for you. And I think it's going to help out with channel growth and stuff if I'm not confusing that algorithm. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the new channel. I mean, like I said, I kind of have a goal that I want to hit 100 subscribers. And just so if you guys aren't aware, subscribers, that's more of a vanity metric, but there is, when you're first starting off, it is helpful because I think you have to have a certain number of subscribers before you can be monetized, which I've never made hardly anything on YouTube, to be perfectly honest with you guys. But maybe if I'm a little more focused, that can change. At least that's sort of the idea. But yeah, anyway, so but it would be nice to at least get monetized, whether I'm making a lot of money or not. Just to know that that's sort of a possibility and stuff. And So I'd like to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the month if possible. I'm at like 80 something, 82, 85 or something like that. So if you haven't subscribed to Retro Art Lab on YouTube, maybe consider doing that. I'm going to be doing some cool stuff, new videos every week. But anyway, so what I was getting at as far as why I'm kind of happy with where we are, even though we're just starting off, is so I've got something 80 something subscribers, and my videos are getting around, anywhere like 40 to 50 views, which that's half the number of subscribers. To kind of put that into perspective, my channel right now, I've got 25,000 subscribers. And my last video, I think maybe got 150 views. So all the whole reason, another reason why I didn't want to start all over with a new channel before was like, oh, I don't want to start over. I got all this following, all these subscribers, and views are definitely more important than subscribers. So the fact that I'm just not getting anywhere even close, I mean, it's just not even a, blip on the screen to compare to the number of subscribers I have. I think that's why I think I maybe made a mistake, of not starting a new channel before, because as long as it keeps growing, and I talked about some of this on my last live stream, but part of the problem is me too, because these videos that I've been doing are just super time intensive to make. So I was only putting like a video out a month because they just take so long to make. So I'm kind of streamlining my process and figuring out ways to make still really good videos and not spend 60 hours on a video, in addition to like things that actually pay the bills. So anyway, but yeah, so in retrospect, I probably should have started a new channel and not worry about this audience that I already have, because I think if you're putting out good content, you're putting out consistently, I have a feeling it's going to catch on. So we'll see what happens. So with that said, I mean, and it is, even though this channel is going to be switching over to more comics, obviously, this kind of stuff is more what you're going to find on the new channel, what I'm drawing right now. So why am I not doing a live stream from that channel? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe I should, and see how many people I can get on because I've got a decent amount of people watching right now, I think, yeah. And in the chat and everything. But I wonder, I'm just curious. I'm wondering maybe if I do another one of these on that channel, what kind of audience I'll get. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just experimentation and testing things out and seeing what works. All right, that looks pretty disgusting to me. I don't know what you guys think. Oh, thanks. I just noticed. I don't know when it went out, but let me switch over. I do have one more battery, so I just looked up and I saw that, and I don't know how long it was out. God, I hate it. I hate this fact that if I can even get the battery out of the compartment here. Man. Oh, what was that? I'm going to try a trick here. I'm going to roll up this tape and see if I can get it to stick to the battery so I can pull it out. Because I used to have tweezers that I used to pull these out, but yeah, it's not really working. Come on. It's really stuck in there. Almost had it. There, I got it. Okay. All right. Let me switch to one more battery, and we're about to wrap up anyway, but I do want to show kind of what I'm drawing here, so. back on. There's got to be a better solution for these cameras. I mean, let's move this up a little bit. And then let me zoom in. Move this up here. Okay, yeah, we do still have to color it. And then let me switch over. Switch back. Okay. All right, back in business. Thanks for letting me know. I don't know how long we were out. It was only out for less than a minute. Okay, good. There's so much when you're doing these live streams you gotta try to pay attention to. I've seen other people that actually hire people to kind of watch the chat or get moderators, and maybe that's something I might have to look into as I continue to do more live streams and stuff like that. But all right. Start adding some color. Oh, I'm gonna erase the. But yeah, I'm digging these Tombow pens for sketches, for these sketches. I'm gonna definitely get some more of them. Yeah, because as I was showing earlier, this is like this is something I may use just a brush and dip ink, but this is I don't know who makes this pen, but I bought this. It's a brush pen. It's a little nicer, and I bought a refillable cartridge for it. I filled it with the P.H. Martin Black Star ink, which I like, which is kind of the ink I like to use for comics. The only problem is it doesn't it smudges a little bit with alcohol marker, so I can't use it for that. For the comics I can, because I'm not going to be using alcohol markers on my comic, but. Oh, that's a good one, Dylan. He says a gross martini. Oh, and it could do the eye. Yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna have to write that down. That's definitely one I hadn't thought of, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of like alcoholic beverages that I didn't even think of. Like a big frosty mug of beer would be another good one. That's just gross. Or yeah, so that's a good idea. And I could even do like the little martini shaker by the glass, and that's a good one. I like that idea. I don't know if I would do that as an actual card. Well, I don't know. I mean, they did. I think even Wacky Packages did kind of do, even though they were for kids. I don't know if they did anything with like alcoholic beverages, because it's kind of a goof. They may have, because they kind of, if they do, they usually, they would probably play on the fact that it's not a good thing for kids, like, you know. So I don't think it would in any way glamorize drinking alcohol. So for kids, I mean, most of the people that are buying these are going to be adults that are nostalgic about that kind of stuff. But still, I want to kind of keep it somewhat kid friendly. But for a sketch card like this, I would definitely do a martini glass. Okay, let me blend some of this stuff in here real quick. All right, so I don't know how you guys, how your weekend was. I had a great weekend. It was my brother had a big 50th birthday party, and it was a Saturday Night Live themed birthday party. Everyone came in costume, and I won't say who I dressed up as, because if you tune into our annual Halloween Artcasters, you will see who it is, because I'll be wearing the same costume. So, but it's going to be fun. And that's, I think, 2 episodes from now is when we're going to do that. We'll have David Hartman on, which we usually do for Halloween, and it's going to be a fun episode. If you've seen any of our other Halloween episodes, they tend to be pretty fun. Oh, thank you, Dylan, for wishing my brother a happy birthday. Yeah, it was a really cool party. He and my girlfriend and I, I took first place and she took second place with the costumes, and we weren't like a couple. We were each our separate different characters, so it wasn't like first and second because we were a couple. We both, I mean, she mostly did. She did the Sally O'Malley character, if you're familiar, the one that says I'm 50 and I stretch and kick. But she was doing the whole act and everything. So I think that's kind of what did it. Because the costume itself, mine was a little bit more elaborate, but hers was just, I think, her performance. But yeah, I mean, so we got the prizes for that, and then we won the trivia contest, and it wasn't because we answered the most questions right. It's because I don't know if you've ever played like bar trivia, and it could be different, I'm sure, but at the last question you get to bet the amount of points, so there's some strategy involved, and it's usually a really hard question at the end, and we weren't 100% sure, so we bet nothing, so we ended up keeping all our points, where the other teams that were ahead of us, they bet a good portion of their I don't think anyone got the last question right. So it was just kind of a strategy thing, and we ended up winning that as well. So we got, got some gift cards and these big, prize bags and stuff. It was really fun. So anyway, hopefully you guys had a pretty good weekend as well. And, I'm looking forward to Halloween, and, this is like, one of my favorite times of year. So obviously if I'm into all this gross, disgusting, creepy stuff, you probably figured that out. All right, let's see. This is going to wrap it up. One more time. Don't forget the Kickstarter right now. Link in the description. Let me pan out a little bit here so we can see. Oh, that's panning in. All right. So each pack comes with a stick of bubble gum. Comes with a magnet, and the magnets are meant to look like they're actual restaurants, although if you look at them, they're really gross. So if you put it on your fridge, people might think, oh, let's order from this place, and then they look at it and realize it's just it's a joke. So this one says the Roach Coach. If it's moving, it's fresh. We park anywhere the health inspector isn't. 5 stars from your local pest control. So the stickers the magnets are a little different, where they actually they don't look that gross up front. But when you read it, it's like, oh, I don't think I want to eat there. So yeah, each pack comes with a magnet. Each pack comes with 6 stickers. Give you an idea. Each pack has a different color of stickers outlines in it. Of course, you got the blue pack, and you've got the green pack, and the pink pack, and then the yellow pack. And you can get the whole the box and everything. All the chase cards. There's holiday chase cards. I keep forgetting to bring those out to show you guys, but there's these different holiday chase cards, and those are probably my favorite ones because they're a lot more detailed than, like, one is like a Halloween bucket, and it's just got all kinds of stuff in it. Same, and one's the Thanksgiving. There's a cornucopia with stuff, and a stocking, Christmas stocking, and so yeah, those are fun. The holiday chase cards, and they're each autographed. And if you get the whole box, you get that. And then there's some higher tiers. There's original art tiers. You can get a concept piece for what will probably be the sequel art. So you won't find this particular noodle, spaghetti, whatever it is in this pack. If this happens, this is a concept for what might be a sequel if I do one. But yeah, so that's kind of, you get the concept art for a maybe future pack of set of cards. And I've already got some ideas for that. I don't know if it'll happen anytime soon, but I do have ideas, and it'll be fun if I get around to that. But yeah, there's a link in the description. Let me switch back over so I can see you guys. Yeah, link in the description for that, plus my new channel, Retro Art Lab, where I create this kind of stuff. If you want to watch the behind the scenes process of me coming up with the idea, putting it all together, figuring out how to do the magnets, figuring out how to do the wax packs, figuring out how to do, coming up with the name, the whole thing. There's a series of like 10 videos. There's 3 up already. Another one dropping every single week. On Retro Art Lab, there's a link to that channel in the description. Like I said, I'd like to hit, by the end of the month, I'd like to hit 100 subscribers. We're around 80 something right now. So if you haven't already backed that channel, go ahead and do so. If you're into this kind of stuff, if you're watching, I assume you are. So yeah, Retro Art Lab on YouTube. That's my brand new channel, and then stay tuned to this channel. I'm gonna start eventually. We'll start transitioning when I start getting after I kind of get this project shipped out and everything. I'm gonna be concentrating on my new comic book, and I'm super excited about that, and I'm going to be sharing all that with you. Plus, it's not just going to be about me, it's going to be about, the stuff that I used to do on this channel, giving advice to comic creators and things like that while I'm showing off, kind of using what I'm doing as an example. So, yeah, because it's been a while. I mean, it got to the point where I was like, I got to do something else because I've just, I talked so much about comics, I didn't have much to say, but now so much time has gone by, so many things have changed, and just my kind of renewed enthusiasm about this new comic. I'm anxious to get started talking about comics again. So stay tuned to that. It should be pretty fun. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Oh, thanks, Kevin. Kevin said he subbed to the new channel. Yeah, we gotta at some point, Kevin. Yeah, so far, I don't know if you just joined, Kevin, but number wise, I mean the channel's just starting off, but as far as view to subscriber ratios on that new channel, it's doing pretty well. So, I mean, compared to even this channel where I've got 25,000 subscribers and I'm getting like 200 views within a week of posting a video, that's not great. But I definitely want to. Kevin and I have been talking about doing a collaboration. So, no big rush on that. I don't want to put any pressure on your plate, Kevin, but I definitely want to do that at some point, and because we got some fun ideas for a collab that we've kind of been talking about. But he's busy getting his new animation and everything going on. I've got a bunch of stuff, but eventually I do want to do that. So let me just check the chat one more time. Just thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. I will, who knows? I might do a live stream where I do one of these, color sketches, because I got to do a couple more because I've had some backers at those higher levels. I'm pretty happy. I mean, with this campaign, I don't have as many backers. Like I said, this is sort of a DIY type, not as big of a campaign, but people are backing at those higher levels because they want that. A lot of people want the full. The whole enchiladas has a whole disgusting grub and eyeball filled enchilada. So all right guys, thanks for checking in. I'll see you guys soon. I'll probably the next time I'll see you is on Artcasters this Thursday. That'll be on Josh's channel, I think. No, it'll be on my channel. So I'll see you on this channel Friday. So thank you guys, and have a great week, and I'll see you hopefully Thursday.